Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Still hungry for some more 1970s sci-fi flicks? Mostly obscure, but always worthy of investigation? I hope so. Alright, let's dig in as we gawk at the top 5 forgotten 70s sci-fi movies you need to see. Part 2. Number 5. The Monitors, 1969. Close enough. If I had to describe this movie in 3 words, those words would be satire, silly, and convoluted. But since you're here and I've already watched this thing, I might as well give you the skinny on The Monitors. Something's up in Chicago. A helicopter patrols the city below, blaring robotic propaganda from loudspeakers.
Monitors are your friends. Depend on the monitors.
Groups of bowler hat-wearing agents march all about, monitoring and reminding citizens about the tenets of the new woke order. Who are the Monitors? And what the fudge happened? Aliens took over the world and bent society into their quirky PC hell. Harry, the daring and brash fighter pilot from the Monitor War, TV actor and ladies' man, hates the Monitors. Maybe because they made war illegal. Probably because they're stripping away the essence of humanity's nature, including our dark and ugly side. Harry is hired for a shoot featuring Barbara, Susan Oliver, who you probably remember from the original Star Trek pilot. Apparently Harry and Barbara have crossed paths before, I think. I mean, he's laying right on top of her, sucking on her face. But the catch is that Barbara is essentially an influencer for the Monitors, and their sexual tension masquerades under their ideological differences. And the cliff notes from here on is that Harry's wacky brother, Max, meets Barbara, and together they all get mixed up in the counter-monitor resistance via another goofy character. The false preacher causes a riot suppression action from the Monitors with aerosol misters. Then he's revealed to be Colonel Stutz of Scrag, the anti-monitor resistance group. And a lot transpires from this point on, and I doubt that I have the mental fortitude to carry on. But if I try to, it goes something like this. Created by the famous Chicago Second City, the troupe that later spawned the legendary SCTV, produced this, their first feature film. Not sure how many more they made after this, but The Monitors is a social commentary on totalitarianism, and somehow predicted the pressing Orwellian mind virus of today. However, it comes across as a mashup of comedy bits, testimonial TV blurbs by citizens praising the Monitors.
I got my high school diploma from the Monitors. I was 22 at the time, a topless, bottomless go-go dancer. It was just one, if you know what I mean. They kind of showed me how to open up my mind. I learned a lot. You want me to spell?
Student film grade hijinks and professional looking production. Watching this movie is kind of difficult staying on track because the writers couldn't lock down a significant central theme to hang all their wacky premises and jokes on.
We used to have the right to vote, to decide which guys could install parking meters or left-hand turn signals.
So the film dangles along, but there are some truly funny, entertaining, and even poignant moments here. Society under a soft alien thumb that couldn't crush you if it wanted. And this is evident in the scene when they can't break into the warehouse to apprehend the enemies of the state.
Please open the door. No harm will come to you.
But when it comes to snuffing out human nature in lieu of a pacified utopia, well, fuck it. It switches gears really fast. The visual style noticeably switches from grainy auteur style to polished studio look when Harry surrenders to the Monitors and is taken to meet Tersh Jetarax, the Monitor head honcho. A lot of viewers would think that this movie is an unhumorous mashup of vaguely focused material. This really depends on your acceptance of absurdity and silliness. The conclusion offers a wry take on an alien control scenario and the hallmark of society's idiocy. After Harry threatens to blow up Jetarax in the Monitor HQ, Jetarax informs him that they're leaving Earth. Human global conflict is reaching a boiling point. Once the Monitors vamoose, mankind gets back to destroying the planet with World War III or IV. It's not really clear, but in the end, nothing really matters. Not even the budding romance between Harry and Barbara. Number 4. The Humanoid, 1979. This Italian space opera is set in the distant future where the planet Earth, rebranded as Metropolis, is under a peaceful rule of a wise and benevolent great brother, Massimo Serrato. However, Metropolis faces a grave threat from the Great Brother's exiled sibling, the tyrannical Lord Grawl, played by Ivan Razumov. Determined to take control of the planet, Grawl conspires with the brilliant but evil scientist Dr. Kraspin, who has developed a powerful weapon capable of turning people into emotionless superhumans, or humanoids, However, in order to facilitate this, they need the element Capitron, which is stored in a facility inside of Metropolis. Barbara Gibson is summoned away suddenly by her mysterious student Tom Tom, or is it
Unknown.
Tom Tom saves her life because Grawl stormtroopers attack the facility soon after and sack the Capitron material. Dr. Craspin tests out his hypothesis on an unsuspecting and hulkish space pilot, Golub, played by Richard Keel, a former military officer who is transformed into a mindless and unstoppable humanoid by Craspin's technology. Under his control, Golub becomes a dangerous tool for Grawl's conquest. He is dropped off on the outskirts of Metropolis, where he tosses the entire army around like Raggedy Ann dolls. I mean, there's no way you can stop Jaws. And it was fun to see Richard Keel in a role that shows his personality without those metal chompers.
This is no time for games. Who programmed you anyway? It's all shit. Don't worry, boy. We'll get out of this somehow.
Not well acted, but it's endearing nonetheless. And they attempt to ramp up the cuteness by pairing Golub with a robot dog, Kip, that's infinitely more chatty than R2-D2. Lord Grawl is well on his way to become Overlord of Metropolis and the rest of the known galaxy. He's joined by Lady Agatha, Barbara Bach, as his mistress, who is a million times worse than a standard gold digger. And what's going on with your hair, girl? Looks like a pair of wings. But Tom Tom uses his powers to soothe Golub and free him from the influence of the Capitron, although he does suffer some lingering mental retardation. Once Dr. Craspin finishes making the Capitron missile, it will turn every single soul in Metropolis into humanoids, under Grawl's control. But he didn't take into account that Barbara and Tom Tom would befriend Golub.
I'm your friend, Barbara. Say it.
But team friendship is broken up when Barbara is kidnapped and taken by Grawl's forces. Nick, Tom Tom, and Golub stage a rescue mission. They mix things up in a dogfight and crash on planet Noxon. And together they infiltrate Grawl's base, discover the Capitron missile, and their evil plan. And the movie maintains its overt Star Wars plot to its gripping conclusion. And you don't have to be Federico Fellini to figure out that the Humanoid is a ripoff of Star Wars A New Hope. Released 2 years after Star Wars, it's clearly attempting to tap into that magic mustard. And if you really wanted to get hammered playing a drinking game, this would be a good choice. Like for example, the Tatooine-like planet, bargain basement star destroyers, Yip, aka R2-D2, Princess Leia with a braid, the Rebellion, Black Stormtroopers, Darth Vader through a glory hole, Tom Tom Skywalker threads, Death Star detention hall gun battle. The same Stormtrooper levels of accuracy and the Force. And for what it's worth, the Humanoid is a lot of fun for moldy camp fans. I mean, just check out this shot, as smooth as a gravel road. And there is no shortage of deeply hilarious scenes. I think you should love this one. Number 3, Capricorn One, 1977. All lights were green for the first flight to Mars when NASA pulled the quarterback at the last second. Well, actually, the running back. Walker, Juice Simpson, Brubaker, Josh Brolin, and Williams, Sam Watterson are flown in secrecy to a soundstage. They're greeted by their old colleague, Dr. James Kellaway, wickedly portrayed by Hal Holbrook, who tries to acclimatize his cohorts to the situation, which illustrates the glaring window into razor-thin trust amid government agencies, even amongst friends. The astronauts are briefed on a mission-critical flaw with their life support system that will kill them 3 weeks into the flight, resulting from a greedy subcontractor cutting corners. Brubaker is the most opposed to this charade. Kellaway tries to guilt them that the future of the space program depends on Capricorn One's success, while preserving America's veneer of space superiority. But just imagine being entrapped in such a colossal scam. The boys play along by keeping up appearances to the public and their wives, but Brubaker is the greatest risk to the masquerade, a deadly fraud for the astronauts and their family.
Your families? There's a device, it's on the plane too. There's some people, if I don't give them the all-clear signal, they'll explode it.
At Mission Control, a plucky technician, Elliot Witter, discovers suspicious telemetry data. Elliot reports this to Kellaway, who gives him an icy reception. Baffled, he confides to his reporter friend Robert Caulfield, Elliot Gould. Then Elliot disappears from the face of the city like 3 sardines in a tin can. And Caulfield's subplot balances the film perfectly, providing action and intrigue, evoking elements of All the President's Men by times. His investigation leads him to the truth of the astronaut's fate, endangering his life. The grand complication arises as Capricorn One's heat shield malfunctions. Man, this ship's a piece of shit. And birds up on re-entry, really killing Brubaker, Walker, and Williams. And whatever happens on TV, folks, must follow through to the source material. And the guys figure out they're dead men waiting in an office and break out, steal a plane, crash a plane, and split up in the desert. Walker and Williams are eventually apprehended. Brubaker gives the feds a run for their money. He eats rattlers, he wakes up scorpions, and hangs onto the wing of a biplane doing barrel rolls. Impressive, no? No. He is not finished. Meanwhile, Caulfield hires Albane, portrayed by none other than Telly Savalas, baby. He owns a crop dusting biz and gouges Caulfield to search for the astronauts. And those attack helicopters have the same idea, but they should know by now, and I can't believe I have to say this again, you can't win against crop dusters. See, you'll crash into a mountain every time. It's a proven fact. Another fact is that Albane insults everyone by calling them this.
And I think you're a pervert.
And finally, the Capricorn One funeral is in full swing. The president provides bullshit lip service to the mourners. Brubaker and Caulfield speed up, jogging like a duo of truth and truth. And of course, Kellaway and the rest of the conspirators shit their pants. And as the duo of truth jog closer in slow-mo, we're left wondering where the chips will fall. Number 2, Message from Space, 1978. This cultural mashup was a Japanese space opera directed by Kinji Fukasaku, known for his work on Battle Royale and released in the wake of Star Wars' success. The film blends elements of sci-fi adventure and Japanese myth, making it one of the more unique sci-fi films of the late 1970s, and not necessarily for the right reasons. The story centers around the planet Jalusia, which has been conquered by the tyrannical Gavanas Empire. Desperate to free their planet, the Jalusians send out 8 mystical seeds or walnuts into the galaxy, which are intended to find brave warriors who will help them overthrow the Gavanas. These seeds reach various characters across the universe, including a group of reluctant and unlikely heroes, a spacefaring drifter, Vic Moreau, 2 reckless pilots, Sonny Chiba and Philip Kasnov, a princess, and a ridiculously juvenile robot who looks like a tampon. As the team unites, they must overcome their differences and face their destinies as the chosen warriors tasked with freeing Jalusia. Along the way, they face numerous space battles, strange alien worlds, and the overwhelming might of the Gavanas forces. Led by the villainous Roxia XLL, and I know that I butchered that, but played by Makio Narita. And the first thing you'll notice at Message from Space is a colorful film with some imaginative set design and over-the-top action sequences, not to mention its scientific accuracy. Didn't know you could do that. The film's aesthetic is an awkward mix of traditional Japanese fantasy elements with Western science fiction influences, creating a blend that feels familiar to retro science fiction fans. Though it was Japan's response to the Star Wars phenomenon, Message from Space stands out for its more mythic and whimsical tones, often compared to Kurosawa's The Hidden Fortress. While the film didn't achieve major success internationally, it did become somewhat of a cult classic for fans of campy sci-fi and space operas, appreciated for its quirky charm, vibrant production design, and ambitious scope despite its modest budget. And it isn't surprising. The sci-fi universe underwent a massive upgrade following the release of Star Wars in 1977. However, fans of camp must have been happy with Message from Space, despite it not doing well at the time. Because when you have wooden spacefaring sailing ships in the mix, then it's gonna register with a certain sliver of this demographic. I didn't find Message from Space noteworthy other than the sheer spectacle of it, but alas, I am just one man, as I'm sure there are those out there who love this far-out specimen of filmmaking. Are you one? If so, let me know what you think of Message from Space in the comment section below. Number 1, The Alien Factor, 1978. The number 1 spot of today's video is a lost hunk of fool's gold that evaded me for decades, but ChatGPT found it in 3 seconds. Written and directed by B-movie underdog Don Dollar, The Alien Factor is his seminal feature in a line of cookie-cutter sci-fi and horror flicks. At the top of the film, the kill counter comes to life with its first victim. A young couple are parking and drinking when something from the Black Lagoon lumbers up and kills Mary Jane's beau. Mary Jane flees shrieking and is taken in for observation by the local police. But news travels fast through this small town of Perry Hill, Maryland. Sheriff Jack Cinder tells concerned friends that the victim was mauled by a large animal and to mind their own business. Fear starts to spread under the first 30 minutes, and 5 deaths are under investigation by the police department. Mayor Burt Wicker, who's basically the mayor from Jaws, arrives full of piss and vinegar.
What the hell's going on, Jack?
I wish I knew, Bert.
Because these deaths will impact his cash cow, a $3 million entertainment complex to be built on the outskirts of town. The sheriff rebutes by demanding that the state police take over, and Bert's not happy. Meanwhile, the next victim is a regular dude eating nuts and knocking back a couple at the local watering hole. Ugh, stubbies. Then the Yardbirds entertain the crowd and play out the nut gobbler to his own swan song. Which plays out in his basement, startling and being thrashed by Man-Bear Pig. The mayor receives a visit by Zach Galifianakis, who claims to work at the nearby observatory.
I work at the Garrett Observatory there.
He informs Bert of the meteor that crashed nearby.
A meteor?
Bert's only concern is his entertainment complex, and Zach takes Bert to the hills and discover this.
What in God's name is that?
Yeah. It looks like my meteor is a spacecraft of some kind.
And this is when Galifianakis lays down some tight acting chops as he communicates with the alien pilot via sparkles and purple light. The ship blows up. Bert and Zach Galifianakis state their case to the sheriff, telling him that the ship crashed and alien creatures have escaped and are running amok.
I saw it!
And that the army won't be able to do shit. Zach Galifianakis convinces everyone that he can take care of the problem, but he must work alone.
Like I said, I do have some special equipment.
And oh boy,
It's tough. Believe me, folks. It's tough.
because Man-Bear Pig throttles him good in the next scene. And from then on, it's just a lot of running, stumbling, shooting, screaming, lumbering, and dying. But Zach Galifianakis takes care of the creatures in short order. But he can't get a note of appreciation because he too is a hideous alien, disguised as Zach Galifianakis. No matter how benevolent, we know what must be done to hideous aliens. Holy shit! When I saw this as a kid, I never thought that I would be able to relive the horribly stiff performances, schlocky special effects, wince-inducing music and sound effects, monster costumes and paper-mache faces, and the acting. Jesus, the absolute lack of talent is breathtaking.
It's tough. Believe me, folks.
The alien factor is still as bad as I remember, and that's absolutely perfect. Alright, that'll be today's list. Were you also haunted by the memory of alien factor? And is Capricorn One too well known to be mentioned on this list? And is the Monitors one of those forgotten specimens that should just remain that way? Jot down your thoughts below, or just stop by and say hey. And let me know if you want to see more rough 1970s sci-fi gems. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and I will catch you in the next one.